Thank the Deputy for raising these important matters, and clearly the current security of electricity supply situation, together with high international prices for natural gas, are a matter of real concern to all our people. Government will keep helping vulnerable customers by providing extensive support for household energy costs via energy efficiency and welfare schemes, and expect to see further progress in that regard in the budget next week. Energy and climate policy is rapidly changing, driven by the urgent need to tackle climate change. And in Ireland, this means rapidly decarbonising our electricity grid to act as a linchpin for emissions reductions in other sectors. Under our new climate legislative framework, all sectors of the economy will have sectoral emission ceilings, and data centres will have to be within these sectoral ceilings. It's also clear to me that these digital industries also wish to transfer to zero carbon power, and I'm confident that working collaboratively we can enable this transition. The expansion of data centres in Ireland, particularly in the Dublin region, is projected to lead to a large increase in electricity demand, which raises real challenges for the energy system. Data centres account for 11% of electricity in 2020, and EirGrid this morning published their latest generation capacity statement, which projects that demand from data centres could account for 25% of all electricity demand in Ireland by 2030. We are facing real short-term challenges to electricity security of supply, primarily driven by unplanned technical failures on two of our largest gas plants, both of which are expected to be back online shortly. To suggest that this is solely down to our problems are solely down to increased demand from data centres is not borne out by the facts. The increase in data centre demand was forecasted and is increasing in line with those forecasts. In the medium term, to back up the additional 11 gigawatts of new renewable power supplies we will bring online, we do need to replace our ageing high-carbon power sources with a mixture of batteries and flexible gas power plant that can help us transition to zero carbon while also using gases like hydrogen. This has been challenged by a failure to bring capacity through recent market auctions, which the Commission for Regulation of Utilities, who has statutory responsibility in the area, have also outlined their plan this morning on how to address this system adequacy issue. Regarding this debate, I've tabled an amendment to the motion which acknowledges that there is increasing electricity demand from large energy users, including data centres, and that a range of actions are being taken and will be taken by the crew and EirGrid in relation to security of electricity supply over the coming months and coming winter and years ahead. It is acknowledged that the growth in large energy users' needs have to be managed within the electricity system regulation and within sectoral emission ceilings. Increasing electricity demand from industry and from the electrification of both heat and transport will be defining features of our future energy system. Increased electricity demand will drive the need for more onshore wind, more offshore wind, and more solar power, as well as storage and grid infrastructure. We will also need large users to provide demand-side response and flexibility services. EirGrid have undertaken a comprehensive assessment of the future needs of the power system as part of their comprehensive Shaping Our Electricity Future consultation. That analysis would suggest that where there is existing grid capacity in areas with high levels of renewables, the location of large energy users, including data centres, can provide stability and help balance the grid. The simple equation here is bringing the demand closer to where the renewables are located, thus reducing the need for additional grid development. The ICT sector and data centres are part of the digital and communications infrastructure for many sectors of our economy and act as a hook for further investment and job creation. The technology sector in Ireland is a major employer and is also playing a key role in driving digitalisation of the Irish economy, which is core to increasing productivity, competitiveness and innovation. Data centres, for example, enable remote working, which cuts transport carbon emissions, as has been evident over recent months. It's also worth iterating that there is no direct state subvention of data centres, as the private member motion alleges. All large energy users pay for their infrastructure through network charges. There is no subvention of data centres from either the state or household electricity bills. In my mind, calls for moratorium on data centre connections will be a blunt policy response. We are better served to enable the transition to a zero-carbon electricity system through policy and regulation. A secure, low-carbon and flexible energy supply enables Ireland to use our comparative competitive advantage in offshore energy to locate clean digital industries close to the power to provide employment and livelihoods for our citizens. Government, working with the relevant state agencies, want to ensure there is a plan-led, regionally balanced approach to such developments. An example is the recently announced by Bord-na-Mona 200-megawatt energy park near Road, County Offaly. It combines 200 megawatts of clean power, hydrogen generation and utilisation of battery storage and also flexibility from large demand users. This maximises the value to society and minimises the costs. This is the fundamental underpinning of the just transition, where we create clean jobs from clean power. Finally, and importantly, the amendment affirms Dáil Éireann's support, I hope, for a number of measures that will help manage data centre development and strengthen the policy and regulatory framework. I will shortly bring a revised climate action plan to Government, which will set out a suite of actions that will address rising energy demand while facilitating sustainable growth in the digital and ICT sectors. The amendment affirms the Government's intention that the policy statement of the role of data centres in enterprise policy will be reviewed shortly. The wider policy and regulatory contexts have shifted since 2018, and we now need to ensure better alignment with electricity emissions reductions and security of supply challenges. Most importantly, in my mind, the amendment also affirms that the independent regulator, CRU, also intends to publish its data centre connection policy later next month. That is the key response. I heard you on the radio this morning. You're correct. We need to plan. We have been doing exactly that. Tasking EirGrid to come up with the Shaping Our Electricity Future plan, which they will publish next month. Working with CRU to get the regulations policy, new policy into how we connect data centres, and that too will be published next month. Far from ignoring this issue, it's been centre stage in our plans to manage our energy system. We have the plans. CRU and EirGrid have been developing them over the last year. They'll be published next month. That's the best policy approach. Thank you.